Here and Now, the program featuring the news and interests of the African American community. Here's your host, Sandra Bookman.
Coming up, we sit down with Grammy-nominated singer and actress Deborah Cox to talk about her new Broadway musical, Titanique. Mexodus, the musical, featuring a fusion of hip-hop and bolero, it tells the little-known story of the Underground Railroad's path south to Mexico. Plus, Ntozake Shange's classic Choreopoem for colored girls, reimagined with music at Lincoln Center. Also ahead, Young, Gifted in Broadway, and Act Black, the poster exhibit bringing early Black stage and screen productions back to life. That's all ahead on Here and Now. She is a Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, and actress. Deborah Cox, starring in the comedic musical Titanique as unsinkable Molly Brown, a flamboyant version of the real-life Titanic survivor. It is our pleasure to welcome powerhouse vocalist and Broadway star, Deborah Cox. So nice to finally meet you.
Yes, likewise.
You walked up in here looking like the star you are, putting all of us to shame. You've been at this for a while.
Yes.
You were a baby when you started.
Yes.
And so was Broadway part of that dream?
Broadway was always a part of the vision, absolutely. I kind of came up doing musicals, doing stuff through high school, doing off-Broadway type productions in Toronto where I grew up. And it was something that I knew I'd want to like venture into again, but the recording career took off.
Yeah.
And so it gave me different playgrounds to play in.
I love you play. Oh, the recording career took off. Okay, let's just see where it took off. 13 #1 hits on Billboard's Hot Dance Club Play chart, 6 top 20 Billboard R&B singles, and you were, of course, a backup singer for Celine Dion in the early 90s when you were a child, and before they realized, oh my Lord, this child can sing. You happy with the career that you've been able to build in an industry that is notoriously fickle?
Ooh, yes, yes. I'm happy that I stuck to what was in my heart and what was in my spirit. I knew that I wanted to have a career in music. I knew that I wanted to be a part of the performing arts in some capacity. And in a way, because of sticking to my guns and sticking to my vision and my truth, I've been able to have many hats, and I've been able to participate in all different types of musical productions.
Yeah,
so,
that's hard work.
Very hard work.
And talent. Well, but those two things can give you that
Absolutely.
longevity, which is what you've had.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Titanique, you're a co-producer
I am.
as well, right?
Yes.
So does that add to the work that you're doing in addition to what you do on stage?
Yeah, well, you know, when I came into the industry, I came in as an artist, as a performer. I really took a leap when I was a co-producer on The Wiz, co-producer on this. It made me a part of the production in a different way, helping to bring the dream to Broadway. And that was what I felt, you know, was important this time around, was not just investing my talent and time, it was really investing in the dream and seeing the work of these incredible writers and performers. Again, speaking about Marla Mandel and Constantine Rassouli and Ty Blue, when they approached me about being in this production, I really believed in it. And so my vision moving forward has been to be a part of things that I really, truly believe in.
To be from it helps to be sort of in the soul of it, not just on the surface work.
Absolutely. I love that you said that, because my soul is in this art as well, in this exploring this comedic role, letting people see the comedy, the fun side of me instead of always being so serious. This piece has really allowed me to do that and explore in a different way.
Titanique,
Yes.
which I had to ask you when we first sat down. Am I saying it right?
You are.
So describe for our viewers what it is, because It is the Titanic story, but from a completely unexpected source.
Yes, it's a parody of the movie, and it's told through the lens of a Celine Dion, played by Marla Mandel, and it's a hilarious take on her thinking that she was on the Titanic. And so when you see all of these characters tell the story through her eyes, it's just hysterical, and it's so funny, and it also has a backdrop of the music of Celine Dion.
So it's beautiful music.
Yeah, it's a really fun production to be a part of with the most incredible cast. And I'm having the time of my life on Broadway again.
And unsinkable Molly Brown. I mean, when I've seen, past movies of that talked about the night the Titanic sank, not just the big Titanic one, but even, the movies that were made before, that character always stuck out to me because I always felt like she had guts and gumption, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she absolutely did. In a time where women, they never listened to women. She didn't really have a voice, but she was very determined to save more people and not just the rich folk. She really wanted to be the voice for the voiceless, and she stood on that all the way up until her passing.
You love that character. This rendition speaks to you.
This rendition really speaks to me. The heart and soul of who she is, a fighter, being so determined, being that. She really kind of takes Rose under her wings and teaches her about, just following her heart, and there's a lot of me in that as well.
So do you have a favorite scene? Is there something that you just love?
Oh, there's so many favorite scenes. And a lot of the scenes I'm actually not in just because the show is so hysterical. I love the improv moments. I love, for me, the moment with Melissa when we do our duet, and I'm sort of, exploring her, telling her about the birds and the bees, giving her a little sex education, if you will,
okay.
Through
it's
song.
Okay to say sex education.
Right? But that's one of my scenes that I feel is like endearing and fun and quirky all at the same time.
Okay. And I know that the production has been extended, right?
Yes.
That's a great sign.
That is a great sign. We've had a lot of support, not through just the previews, but like up until now, and now we are extended through September.
Yeah, that has to be a great feeling.
It is. Broadway's not easy.
Nope.
So being able to bring new people and new fans and new supporters to the St. James is really incredible.
Yeah, it means people are liking what they see.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about Deborah Cox a little bit because you've got a pretty big performance coming up tonight on the Tonys.
So, my first time performing. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And we're nominated for Best Musical. And taking part in the telecast, so really thrilled about that.
Yeah, that's great. And the first two Radio City Music Hall, you've not performed. That's the one stage that you haven't performed on.
I've never done a performance there, so I'm really looking forward to it. It's such a iconic venue.
Yeah, it is. You're going to be fantastic. You're going to kill it.
Thank you.
And you're going to headline Beatstock this summer in Brooklyn. That's August 15th and 16th.
It's August 15th, 16th. Beatstock, it's a celebration of dance music. So when you come, expect to hear all the dance hits.
And don't wear your heels.
Don't wear your heels, child. Wear some comfortable boots, some summer boots, or some
also, it's going to be the middle of August, for sure.
Yes, it's going to be hot.
You are also going to be performing in your hometown, the FIFA Fan Festival, July 2nd.
July 2nd, for FIFA. That's actually a free concert. So it's, really a celebration of all things FIFA, and I'm thrilled to be performing as well.
You got, honestly, I'm a little jealous of your summer. But it's what you love to do, right?
Yes.
You absolutely love it. I can't let you go without, because first of all, you got more jobs. You got a lot of jobs.
I have an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes, you do. And I want to talk about your wine, and I want you to pronounce it because I don't want your kids being angry with me because I mispronounced their wine.
Sure, it's called Kazaisu. We also sell it exclusively at the St. James Theater as well. There's a rosé that we first came out with. We also have the white and the red, and it's an organic brand a brand that, you know, we feel is the healthier alternative. And I named it after our children because it's a real personal thing for me. I love, love, love wine. It's from Provence as well, which is where I got my early start, singing background for Celine as well. And it really explores a luxurious taste when you taste it, but it's also clean. It has no additives, no color.
Organic.
It's just like pure, and that's my choice of drink when I.
And it's named after
all of my kids, yeah.
All of your kids.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't
Kayla, Isaiah, and Sumaya.
Okay.
And we combined the three names, and it's Kazaisu.
And are they old enough to taste it?
Yeah, they are now. I'm an empty nester, so they're all now off in university. But yeah, it was just a pure a desire to come up with something that was of quality that people could enjoy, and I wanted to create a legacy brand.
Like the rest of your career, you said, I'm going to do this, and you did it.
Thank you. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
TitaniqueBroadway.com, Titanique, Broadway.com. That's where you can get tickets right now. The show has been extended through September 20th.
September 20th,
right?
Yes.
And then I'm going to send folks to DeborahCox.com, and there I'm assuming they can see everything that you're going to be doing.
All of the dates of the shows that I'm doing. You can order the wine there as well. Yeah, all things Deborah at DeborahCox.com.
It is a pleasure to sit down with you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Oh my God, you're so glamorous and talented and hardworking. Perfect combination.
Thank you.
So nice to meet you, and you can come back anytime.
Absolutely. Right. Thank you.
We'll be right back. We all know the story of the Underground Railroad. It's the network that helped fugitive slaves escape, mostly running from the South into northern states. But a new musical reveals there was another path that ran south by crossing the Rio Grande into Mexico. Mexodus tells that real-life story set to a fusion of hip-hop and bolero. Take a listen.
We bleed the same blood of this country, and stories we'll share with you. Over time left out the books, but all it took was deep diving into a sad imagination, a true examination of a nation's early trouble. Cause from the wreck and rubble we came out the other side, sippity side. When you're living in this country, it's do or die, and we can tell you how. Yeah, but let's break it down.
Take those shackles off my hands, oh Lord.
Joining us today, the creative geniuses behind this production, playwrights and actors, Brian Quijada and Nigel D. Robinson. I'm so excited to meet both of you.
Oh, we're excited to be here.
Yes.
Just a wonderful piece of work.
Thank you.
And my first question is, where do you hear about this story? How do you know about it? Brian.
Yeah, we landed on, we found this article posted on history.com, the undertold story of the Underground Railroad that led south to Mexico. And it's kind of mind-blowing when you read that, because I think the common, what happened to us was that we were like, how did we never learn about this? And then immediately followed by, of course, that Mexico abolished slavery 30 years before the United States did, and so Mexico gave citizenship to runaway slaves. It was amazing.
And Brian, why was it a story, Brian, I'm sorry, you're Brian, you're Nigel.
Yes.
Nigel, why was it a story that it was important for you to share and to bring to audiences this way?
In the same way that we're like, of course, we didn't learn about this. I think, of course, we didn't learn about this. Of course, we weren't taught this. And I think education is really important to try and help people change. Like we perish for our lack of knowledge. And then doing it this way, Brian and I, we call ourselves little misfits of the American theater. Like we never really fit into the mold that New York City and subsequent cities have created. So we had to make our own thing. And our common interest, we have a lot of common interests, but like musically, that thing in the middle is hip hop. Like I've been rapping since I was like 9 years old. I did not pay attention in class. So we met and we were like, okay, it's a hip hop show, but then I bring in, like I grew up on Stevie Wonder and Earth, Wind & Fire and Luther and a lot of other folks like that. And then Brian grew up on boleros and a lot of Mexican music and things, and we mashed all those things together with the glue of hip hop to tell this story.
Was it surprising to either of you that the mashing together tasted real good?
I was shocked.
I mean, you know what's amazing about hip hop is that the tradition of hip hop is to sample disco and funk, and so it actually aligned perfectly that we would take samplings of our influences and make something contemporary.
So I'm going to back up for a second. If you'll do me the courtesy of explaining to the audience the story. We've said the story behind the story, what inspired it, but the story of those characters in this show.
Oh yeah. Well, we come out on stage and we're like, hi, we're Brian, we're Nigel, and we've learned this information that you probably haven't heard about, and we're going to tell you a story about it. And then we go into this story of this man named Henry, who we find on a plantation talking about the monotony of every day. And then he goes through an incident that you have to come see the show to find out about. And it's either kill or be killed, run away. So he chooses to commit this act, and he has a runaway, and he finds that there's a folktale about crossing the Rio Grande on a bale of cotton. Via weight in the water, he crosses the Rio Grande in a storm and washes up on the shores of Mexico and is greeted by
this character Carlos, who is a veteran of the Mexican-American War and had to abandon his men and was displaced and rescues him. And what's amazing, and the history shows us, is that Mexicans took in these runaway slaves and gave them citizenship out of spite of the United States for taking their land. And so they gave them citizenship as kind of a middle finger to the United States.
Yeah. What made you two feel like, or maybe what makes this fusion of hip hop and bolero so effective in telling this story and I guess drawing in audiences?
I mean, you know, what's amazing is that when our communities come, both the Black and Latino communities, they equally feel proud. I mean, we feel proud to tell this story. And so it's kind of remarkable that you know, I speak like a third of my lines in Spanish. It's kind of remarkable that both of our communities can come and equally feel proud to be themselves.
And heard and be learning something
and
new.
Hear their music and hear our music collectively in a single space. It's remarkable. It's such a joy.
And I hate, you hate to compare things, but the thing that popped into mind, and I know, I'm looking at your face, Nigel. I already know what you're thinking. But it is one of the reasons why I think it's so effective and so popular, Hamilton. Right?
Yeah.
That storytelling, so you're telling an old, it's a forever story, really, but an old story, but you are setting it to, music and that it is contemporary. So you feel an instant connection. I don't know, does it make the information go down easier or just make you feel instantly connected? Than perhaps you otherwise would be.
I have a theory about theater, and that juxtaposition always works. I watched Tu Wong Fu a couple years ago for the first time, and I was like, these really fabulous New York drag queens descend upon this podunk town in the middle of Middle America, and I'm like, that is so interesting. It's polarizing, it's interesting, and then a story comes out of, like it writes itself. So I think when you set history to something so contemporary, which you can trace back to like A Tribe Called Quest rapping over like jazz loops. These are archaic jazz loops from the 40s, and now these young 19-year-old boys in New York talking about everyday life, but to this other music. And for some reason, it makes it digestible. But I love Lynn. When Lynn came to the show, I had a small panic attack during the day.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, we should say.
But so we got to meet him, and he liked it, and that was crazy. But he did say something really important like 10 years ago when Hamilton was really, really kicking off, and he said, hip hop is the language of revolution. And I was like, you're absolutely right. So every subsequent hip hop theater piece, I owe that, at least, what he said. I'm like, he's absolutely right. There's something fiery and fast and poetic and energizing and rebellious about hip hop.
Know that the show is available in Audible, on
Yeah,
Audible,
yeah.
right? Which really will put the music front and center, right?
Yes.
In a way that did you think about that ahead of time?
Well, that was kind of when Audible approached us about doing
Yeah.
the stage version at their theater. We got incredibly excited because this piece started as a concept album. And so we were like, oh, we'll get to return to the medium of releasing an album with them. And it dropped. It's available on Audible. It was such a joy for us to make.
Yeah.
And what are you hoping that people leave the theater with? What are you hoping they take away from Mexodus?
Oh man, if you take a look at, I think there's universality and specificity. So we're telling a very specific story about two specific groups of people at a specific time. But if you branch out, you can see how all these things connect. So when you look outside and you see other struggles, like there's no way that you can look at Mexodus and feel emotional about it and then go out of your front door and see land theft and see, see these things that are happening even in the city. So I hope that people leave the theater feeling whatever they're feeling and take that out into their communities and realize that we are two people who, with a room full of instruments and buttons, make this orchestra level of sound with just two of us. And like, what can you do at a library? What can you do at a news station? What can you do at your job? What can you do in a warehouse with just two people?
Yeah.
Mexodus, it's at the Darrell Roth Theater, 101 East 15th Street
That's
in
right.
New York. And it is running through June 17th?
June 14th.
June 14th now, June 14th. I'll send you to mexodusmusical.com for tickets, availability, and audible.com. You can find it there as well.
Yes.
Thank you both for
Thank
being
you.
with us
Thank you
this
so much.
afternoon. What congratulations on
Thank
just an
you.
absolutely
Thank you so much.
brilliant piece of work.
Thank you so
I cannot
much.
wait to see the full show.
We can't wait to have you.
Yes. You will be able to come back anytime with your next project.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back. This year marks the 50th anniversary of Ntozake Shange's powerful Choreopoem for colored girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough. To mark this milestone, Lincoln Center's American Songbook series is presenting a reimagined musical treatment of the classic that tells the stories of 7 women who've suffered the indignities of a racist and sexist society. Joining us today, composer, playwright, and performer, Natalie Brown.
Thank you for having me.
So nice to meet you.
Great to meet you too.
Natalie, I know when this poem, this Choreopoem, first became popular, first was 1976, you were not only not born, you were not thought of.
Yes,
Okay.
correct, yeah.
So how did you become interested in this particular project?
Yeah, so for Colored Girls, as a theater maker, has always been one of those canonical pieces, especially as a Black theater maker and artist. And so I had known about it for a while, but I didn't end up reading it until my freshman year in college, when I was taking a composition class with Janine Tesori, and I had a copy of the Choreopoem, and I'd never read it. And she asked us to just find any piece of text and set it to music. And something in me just went, oh, maybe there's something in here that I could use for this one assignment. And so I read the entire piece, and I was completely blown over by it. And I ended up taking No More Love Poems number 4 and setting that to music for the class. And it just felt so kind of natural and easy. And when I brought it in to class, Janine was like, you should adapt the whole thing to music.
So because it sounds like it spoke to you automatically.
Yes,
if you
completely.
could just, briefly tell our audience, I'll let you do that, what the Choreopoem explores.
For sure. So For Colored Girls is an exploration of kind of everything that it means to be a Black woman in America. Obviously, Ntozake was writing it in the 1970s, but it's completely contemporary and makes sense today as well. So it's about some of the traumas and the horrors that these women face, but also about the joy in their lives, the laughter, the community, and how they're able to move through the world together.
Yeah, and you, I will tell you, it's one of my favorite pieces. For at least 2 years in college, I had that huge poster on my wall because it spoke to me, and I had a chance to even perform in the play in college, a theater group that I was a part of. I absolutely loved it because I did think that it really spoke for, to, and about Black women.
Completely.
So how will your performance, this performance, differ from what we normally see on stage? Because we see, I'll just say, generally we see the women 7 different colors telling their stories. How will it work in your production?
So the original show is a series of poems that are all performed as spoken word pieces, and they're accompanied by choreography and by kind of interstitial music. What I've done is taken the original text and set everything to music, so it's now 2 acts instead of 1, and kind of woven through, like, different lines are taken to be reinserted to kind of have a kind of different feeling narrative through line, and then everything is sung, so that opened up a lot of possibilities in terms of harmonies and how are the women interacting differently with each other through kind of the power of music as well.
And you, this is a collaboration with visionary artist Janine Tesori. How does that work?
Yeah, so Janine was my professor in my freshman year at Yale and also in my junior year. And so she was the one who encouraged me to work on this piece in the first place, and then has just been an incredible mentor for me ever since. And so she helped me get in contact with the estate when I was first writing it, and I would kind of come to her with questions and, you know, how do I put this on stage? She helped us do our first reading of it in the city. And so she has a visionary artist kind of residency at Lincoln Center. And so she's helping to kind of co-present the piece in public for the first time in collaboration with Clint Ramos, who's their artist in residence.
And what is it you're feeling that adding this music to these moving poems will do in terms of guess, highlighting and conveying the meaning of this material to audiences? How do you think that will, I guess, help do that in a different way?
Yeah. So I think, obviously, music is able to bring out things that we always kind of say that in musical theater, when somebody can't speak anymore, they begin to sing, and then when they can't sing anymore, they begin to dance. And so there's kind of another layer of communication accessible because there's now music that's underlying all of these words. So maybe the melody that they're singing and the words that they're saying are communicating one thing, but the music underneath can communicate another thing that more kind of gets to the complexities of all of these poems, which are so completely layered and complicated and messy, like Black women are.
Very, very, very personal. And is there a certain type of music that you gravitated toward that you felt like was part of this piece, or are we going to be hearing, you know, different genres of music?
It's a lot of different genres, really rooted in Black musical traditions. So there's gospel, there's R&B, there's more like hip hop feeling, some pop, some like very musical theater. So kind of all over. And
what is your hope that audiences are going to take away from this particular performance of For Colored Girls?
I think what's really exciting about this piece is that for some audiences, they've grown up reciting these poems and living with them. And so I hope that maybe it's able to unlock something different for them, that they're able to have new realizations or understand things differently. And then also that for new audiences who maybe haven't interacted with this piece before ever, that they're able to kind of find a new way in and begin to unpack the incredible legacy that this piece has had.
Yeah, I mean, I can say, since I loved it since I was 17 or 18 years old, you know, my perspective and viewpoint certainly will be different now at my age than it was then. And I've seen performances of it, or reread it between, you know, now and then. But I do think it's really an interesting concept. And, you know, music, it brings back feelings, emotions, and so I'm assuming that is what will happen with your audience as well.
Yes, I hope so, yeah.
Now this is April 6th in the Appel Room at Jazz at Lincoln Center.
Correct.
And look, you're 22, right?
Yes.
How excited are you about having this opportunity?
I am so excited. I mean, I started working on this piece when I was 18, so in some ways it's like, it feels like I've been living with it forever. But to get to debut at Lincoln Center is just a dream come true. And we have the most amazing team. And we just started rehearsal, and they've been so just excited to get in the room and figure it all out. And so just getting to work with all of these professionals has been so wonderful.
We are so happy for you. And this is one night as part of the songbook series. Is it your hope that you will be able to perhaps build on this and we will see a longer, more full show later?
Yes, we would love to. This is a concert version, and so we're really focusing on presenting the music and the text, and then kind of hinting at the fact that this is a choreopoem, meaning that choreography is one of the most essential parts of the language of the piece. And so hopefully after this concert, we'll be able to fully develop what that looks like and bring it all to its feet.
Well, we will be keeping our fingers crossed for you, and
Thank
I
you.
will be in that audience. I can't wait to
Yay.
see and hear it. April 6th, the Appel Room at Jazz at Lincoln Center. Go to lincolncenter.org to take a look at ticketing. And nataliebrownmusic.com is your website, a little bit more about the things you've worked on in the past. And I got a feeling we're going to be seeing you a lot in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and best of luck to you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
We'll be right back. The future of Broadway looks even brighter with the next generation of performers. They've taken center stage in some of the most iconic theater productions, including The Lion King, MJ, the musical, and Gypsy. Joining us today is the founder of YGB, Angela Russell, along with actor and Grammy Award winner Walter Russell III and actress-singer Nia Thompson. Thank you, guys. We've got stars in the house today.
Thank you so much.
It is so nice to see you again.
So nice to see you.
And honestly, I'm so proud of you guys.
Thank you.
And you've gotten so tall.
Right.
Man, you're getting older, but I'm not getting it. Mom, you must be doing a great job. Well, full disclosure, Walter is your son.
He is.
Walter's
yes, he
mom.
is. Yes.
So let me ask you, Angela, why did you start YGB?
Sure. So there's a period actually where the kids grow out of young Simba, young Nala, young man, and there's not a whole lot of work because in Broadway, even if you're a teen, you're playing a teen role, it usually goes to a 20-year-old, right? And this also is a time where males, because I have a son, lose interest in it. They want to do sports or they want to do something with video games. And I wanted to keep the momentum going. One, because I knew it was something he's very passionate about doing. And two, because I thought if we could build the interest for young people like my son in that category, then the future of Broadway will be that they'll still be trained. Exactly. So when they do turn 18, they'll really be ready to go onto the stage in that next role, whatever that might be.
Even though the work may not be coming as fast and furiously, because people have to figure out where you fit in, how you fit in, you are ready for that next step.
That's right.
Big thing. And Walter,
Exactly.
I've known you for a while now. Honestly, I think this last time I saw you, I felt like you only came up to my hip. And now you are taller than me. So tell the audience, if you will, a little bit, some of the roles that you've played on Broadway.
Of course, I played Little MJ in MJ the Musical and Little Marlin in MJ the Musical, and I've also played Young Simba in The Lion King on Broadway.
Yeah. And you were also, Fire Shut Up in My Bones?
Yes, I did at the Met Opera, which was nominated and won a Grammy for Best Operatic Album.
So I think you, what we might call one of the youngest Grammy winners ever, right?
Yes, I'm the youngest Black male Grammy winner ever.
And what does that feel like?
It's so very humbling, you know, to have such a title and be able to carry that and be able to express that and use that and have the ability to tell my story and have people know that I can do what these other giant artists or actors are doing on stage.
Yes, you can. Is it something that you feel like you are going to want to do, to keep doing in life?
Definitely.
Performing?
I want to go to college and pursue more on acting and film and theater, mainly just to study more of my craft, because there are different parts of the industry that I have not step my foot into, and I want to be prepared for that when someone asks me, if you want to do this, and I'll be able to have the ability to use my talents and show a new side of me.
Yeah, and Miss Nia, you also have an impressive resume. Tell the audience a little bit about some of the roles you played.
So I played young Nala in The Lion King on Broadway. I was in The Godfather of Harlem, Rise Up, Sing Out, which was on Disney. I was in Ada to a Scientist and The Equalizer and some other projects.
What I love about your story, Nia, you were at a show somewhere,
Cinderella.
you saw a stage, Cinderella, and you said, I'm supposed to be up there.
Exactly.
Where did that come from?
Honestly, I don't really remember the exact moment because it's like so many years ago.
I know, you're so old.
I'm so old. But I do remember having the passion and wanting to do it. I'm an only child, so it's also like, I love the attention, but also it was the fact that I got to portray other characters and show points of view or how I took a character on to other people. There's something so magical about being on stage. It's just, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
I don't know how to exactly explain it.
No, I
But my
understand it.
3-year-old self was definitely right.
Yeah. And yes, and what are you, 14?
14.
So you're 14-year-old self, and you love it. It sounds to me like you're in it to win it for the long haul.
Yes, definitely.
Is there any project that on the horizon that you're like, I think that's got my name on it? Because you are great at manifesting.
Thank you. Right now, I'm working with One Mic, which is basically about Black people, Hispanic people, and just rapping, and really how Afro-Latinos and Afro-Latinas are a part of the story. We're not just a background. And honestly, right now, it's kind of going like underway. It's still getting worked on because there's also other processes going on. But it's one project I really am so excited to come out and really get to explore.
As you listen to them talk, there's all this talent and this energy, and it sounds to me like you've got the right idea about trying to harness and direct it in the sort of in-between time.
Yes, just like with any sport, right? We always are referring to the moms who are soccer moms or football or basketball moms. So we as parents, because it's not just moms, we have a lot of dads as well, know that this is what our kids want. You have to put it all in. And I learned early on that some of the most successful kids that I saw, a parent really had to make a sacrifice. It's not something that a lot of kids can be successful in on their own. It's not to say it doesn't happen,
you need that,
but just not on their own. You do need the support.
A certain kind of direction and protection.
Yes, and there it is. Right. So this is a
Exactly.
community. We're nurturing. I don't gatekeep. I love to share what I've learned in this industry, and I want to pass it along because there's always some other kid coming behind us that we know that we can share, that listen, this is a safe space, and whatever information that you need or whatever help you need, a key thing, is important for them.
Also, you need support.
We do.
So if folks go to younggiftedbroadway.org, you can find out about all the great, important work that you're doing. You guys, so proud of you.
Thank you.
Until you come back to see us again.
awesome.
And you are coming back.
Of course,
Okay.
definitely.
We'll be right back. The vast majority of films that featured Black casts from the 1870s through the 1940s are considered lost forever. But a new exhibit is helping reclaim that important cultural history. It's called Act Black, Posters from Black American Stage and Screen. It features rare posters from that period that are now the only historical evidence of the work of many Black performers, playwrights, and producers. With us today is Esperanza Humphrey, Assistant Curator of Collections at Poster House in New York City. So nice to see you again.
So nice to see you again, too, and thank you for having me.
Last time you were here, you were a baby, and now you're an older baby.
I'm an older baby now.
Just kidding. You are extremely knowledgeable, and I'm so happy I'm getting a chance to talk to you about this show. So explain to everyone what the Act Black exhibition is.
Sure. So the Act Black exhibition captures this history of Black theater that figuratively and literally sets the stage for what becomes the most popular form of entertainment by the 20th century, by the early to mid 20th century, which is Black film. And then that second part of the exhibition captures the posters that showcase Black film. A lot of them are lost films, or at least a good majority of them are lost films. And so these posters, in some cases, are the only remnant of what that film or what those films, the story of those films.
And I guess I shouldn't be too surprised about them being lost, because look, there are a lot of films in the, films overall that were not preserved. Maybe they weren't stored properly. Maybe we didn't know enough about storing the film to fix them. There's been a lot of talk over the last few years about restoring some of the films that are really considered classics, right? So it's not surprising that films that were specifically targeted toward audiences of color were not necessarily, nobody was thinking about saving them, right?
Right, and behind the scenes, it wasn't only Black directors. The really big draw to the show is that these are all Black casts for all Black audiences. In some cases, they would be for segregated audiences, but you're right, they weren't often preserved because they were screened, people loved them, people had their opinions about them, and then you would kind of go on to the next film. And there are some beautiful stories about how some of them were uncovered, but in some cases, they just never were, but luckily the posters survive for a lot of these films.
And how is that? How is it that you do have the posters surviving?
Right, so it could be, it's a bunch of different reasons. We worked with some great lenders. Some lenders, they have a lineage with their family where their families collected them, or early in the 60s, their families kind of scouted these things before we really felt that they were culturally relevant to display in institutions. Poster House itself is a very young museum, but we collect these posters, and so we also found that the process of uncovering a lot of these posters was a bit challenging, but once you find it, it's like finding a gem. It's like finding something that just means so much, means the world, especially for these Black audiences.
Yeah, it was worth the work.
Right.
And my understanding is that, some people had mixed reactions to not only the films or the product, but the poster themselves. Because perhaps they had an issue with how Black people were portrayed, correct? Talk to me a little bit, but it was in a variety of ways, right?
Right. So there's this history that we have to talk about when it comes to Black stage and Black screen, which is minstrelsy. And we also have to grapple with the fact that Black actors did do blackface minstrelsy. It's a very dark history, but it's also a case in which Black people are reclaiming something where when white people did blackface, they're putting on a caricature of Blackness. In a lot of ways, like we see Williams and Walker, their show, Two Real Coons, depicts blackface minstrelsy, but they have complete ownership over their comedic act, their touring. There were these very safe circuits that were created so that Black people and Black performers could understand, we can book your gigs, we can make your schedules for you, and you know that it's within the Black community. So there is a very dark history that we do have to tackle, but as we come out of that history and we really delve into those stereotypes that are explored throughout the show, we start to realize that Black people did claim some type of ownership over the product.
Yeah, many of them, they had agency over what and how they were doing it, and were clear on why they were doing certain things. And in some cases, they felt it was a necessity to survive, to be able to perform. Let's talk about some of the specific posters that caught my eye. One of them, Connie's Hot Chocolates, which was kind of like a review, right?
Yes, it was a review, and I used this poster, the Connie's Hot Chocolate poster, to highlight Black chorus girls, because in all of this, we have to remember Black women play a very key part. The chorus girl gives Black women a sense of empowerment and a sense of spotlight that they otherwise don't receive, and especially if we're talking about entertainment and talking about history. These chorus girls are able to explore sensuality and beauty in different ways. Again, we do have to talk about kind of the darker sides of things, which is like colorism in a lot of this. But all that to say that chorus girls represent a large part of Black theater and then eventually Black film.
Yeah, and I would think for people, Black people at that time, there was this, as you said, a sense of pride of being even seeing them featured on this poster as black women.
There are some posters where I want to buy some of the things that the black women are wearing on them because it's so beautiful. And I, decades later, am looking at these women and saying, this does feel like empowerment to me.
Yeah, and it was.
Yes.
I mean, whatever anyone's opinion, not knowing the full story, it was. The Flying Ace, that was a 1926 film, right?
Yes, so The Flying Ace is a film by Richard Norman. Richard Norman is a white filmmaker. He had a studio in Jacksonville, Florida. I believe it's still the last surviving silent film studio in its original structure to remain today, so people can still visit that place. And he decides that he wants to dedicate his life to these race films, or dedicate his career, I should say, to these race films. And so The Flying Ace is the only film to exist in its entirety, so people can watch it on YouTube now. And it also shows black aspirations. So you have a black pilot, a black woman pilot, and a black male pilot. And it's actually a really fun movie. I watched it a couple of times, and I was like, this ages very well. This ages well.
Harlem on the Prairie, which I absolutely love that title.
Yes, so Herbert Jeffries is a black cowboy, and he decides that he wants young black boys to see black cowboys, and then, of course, in turn, young black girls to see black cowgirls. And so we get Harlem on the Prairie, and Harlem is a stand-in in a lot of cases just to represent like this contemporary space, this metropolis. And so you'll see Harlem thrown into certain things sometimes, and I think it instills a sense of community. It kind of gathers the black audience together because Harlem is recognizable. And even if we're
all over the world.
All over the world. And if you're seeing a Western movie, where does Harlem kind of factor into this? Well, it's because it's for an all black audience.
I was reading that back, you know, the backstory about the movie. I just laughed. I'm from Texas. That's one of the reasons I could relate to it. And also knowing what the history of cowboy is, I think this film makes perfectly good sense. What are you hoping people that come and see the exhibit and take a look at these wonderful pieces of history, what are you hoping they walk away with?
First, I want people to understand that this is a celebration. Of course, we have those dark-sided moments that we do have to get through, and that's history in general. There's always going to be this darkness that we have to get through, but the darkness tells a greater story about the celebration that is these all-black films for these all-black casts, or these all-colored reviews, as they would call them, all-colored reviews for an all-black audience. And so I want people to understand, especially black people, to understand that these things existed, and we might not have them all in their entirety in the way that they were recorded or not recorded at the time, but the posters help us live on. The posters help those stories live on. And if you walk into the exhibition and you feel empowered, or you feel a little bit sad, or you feel like you want to get on a horse and ride like Herbert Jeffries, I welcome all of those feelings, and I think we at Poster House welcome all of those feelings. It's just getting that message out there and understanding how posters have an important role in that.
Yeah, and not all, look, history can be ugly, but it does teach us something about ourselves.
Yes.
And I think, especially for black people in this country, it says a lot about, you know, we sing that song all the time, We Shall Overcome. That was their way of overcoming, being shut out of, you know, the larger culture in a lot of ways. They said, okay, this is what we're going to do for ourselves.
We will make our own stories, and we will showcase them, and we will get the best of the best talents. And a lot of these actors and stage performers have careers after these films, and they thrive in a lot of ways, and they live on in different mediums, or in films past that race film era, as we would call them.
And I think it would be important to remind anybody looking at them that try not to just view them through the prism of 2026.
Yes.
Because if you do, it may not make any sense.
Right.
You really need to think about when we're talking about and why. You know, these particular posters existed and these projects.
Yes, and that's why that theater section I think is so important, because it helps us establish this is the legacy of black music. This is the legacy of minstrelsy, of vaudeville, of the chorus girl, of Broadway. That's why I say it's literally and figuratively setting that stage, because we have to understand the time period that we're speaking about, and then we go into film, and I think that really is going to help people understand that celebration that I'm speaking about.
Okay. So I can send folks to posterhouse.org. That's the website. It's got the information about the exhibit, It opens March.
It opens, the exhibition Act Black, Posters from Black American Stage and Screen opens March 13th.
And runs through.
And it's on display until September, so there's a lot of time. When the weather gets warm, everyone should be out and looking
well,
at
even
her.
if it's cold, you're going to be inside.
Even if it's cold, yes, come on out, come on out.
Oh, Esperanza, thank you so much. You can come back anytime.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us on Here and Now. If you missed any portion of today's show, you can watch at abc7ny.com/hereandnow or listen to our podcast wherever you subscribe. If you'd like to comment or share your story, email us at hereandnow@wabc.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Sandra Bookman. Enjoy the rest of your day.